You do a lot of producing. What do you like better? Do you prefer to like walk in and just get to dive into a character? Do you like more being involved in the production side, or is it kind of vary by project?
Yeah, I think it's kind of one or the other for me.
Really?
Like
Okay.
I either want to be like completely immersed and like really involved in every step of the process, the script, getting the crew together, scheduling, editing, you know, festival pitches, all of that, or just an actor.
Okay.
It's the in between that's really hard for me, where it's like, I don't know what hat I'm wearing. I don't know if you want me to send in suggestions of people. And it's kind of, I'm trying to balance that right now. I'm very excitable. I get very excited about ideas, which is a good and a bad thing. It has lent to a life of like a bunch of collaborative efforts that I am very lucky to have and I'm very much enjoy. But I can get sucked into those so fast, like before they've even like jumped off, before there's even a script, I'm like putting together a crew in my head and all these things. And that can really take a lot of time. So I'm trying to kind of go every other project. I'm working on a script right now with somebody, and he took the reins and was like, you know, I have these people in mind for a director and editor. And I was like, I'm just going to I'm just going to step back and let him use his contacts. And did that answer the question?
Absolutely. and that kind of makes sense, because it is hard to be half invested, right?
Yeah.
It would be challenging to feel like you're dealing with those project politics of figuring those out, and that could be stressful if you're
especially when you're on set too. I mean, I learned that, you know, when Ashley and I did the pilot Beautiful Mess, we did everything. So we were very involved in everything. We had an incredible crew, but what we didn't really put in place was like a set of like on-set producers or PAs to handle all the nitty gritty stuff, feeding people and making sure, you know, so everybody was kind of taking on those roles, but having to have any of that on our minds while playing the lead roles in a dramedy, where it takes a little bit more emotional investment and, you know, focus. That was a little stressful. So that's kind of where I learned that I, you know, wanted to have the roles separated. Like if I was going to be performing, I don't want to be producing on the day of. You can also set it up where you like help get everything produced pre-production wise, help get a crew together, help with whatever needs to be done. And that's kind of needed a lot of times on these, in order to save money. Like everybody needs to do a bunch of stuff. But then on having people that you can rely on and just step outside of it and just focus on the character on the day of.
So I wanted to talk about Beautiful Mess, because I watched that and I think it's great.
Thank you.
I thought it was very funny, but also really, I guess, really nuanced emotionally, and really just interesting and thought-provoking. So where did that idea come from? Like who wrote it, and where did that concept come from?
So Ashley, Joyce, and myself wrote that together. When we first got to LA, she got here just a few months before me. We were like acquaintances in Chicago, decided to work on some projects together. We did a bunch of sketches, and Ashley is a hustler. That woman gets stuff done. And we had been talking to a couple different production companies, and one of them was asked us to put together a few scripts, pilot scripts, so that they could shop those around for us as like a duo. Our duo is called Midwest Biddies. Look it up on YouTube.
Definitely do.
And so we had, I think, like 4 scripts of different kinds. And that one was one of them. And it was sort of just this, you know, right from your real life and the move to a new big city and falling in line with accidental friends who support you almost too much to all the negative shit. So yeah, it was just kind of, you know, the concept came from like real life and real moments in our lives. And then from there, we sort of like wrote out this storyline and then assigned each other these like little scenes to write. And I've never written like this before, but it worked really well. We just like, she took scene 1, I took scene 2, she took scene 3. And then we came together and massaged them and made them work.
Was there a rhyme or reason? Like you wrote her scenes and she wrote yours, or was it alternate, or it just kind of was?
It was kind of like, oh, this story or this moment is derived from, you know, this thing that the feeling of this thing that happened in my life. So I'm going to take a stab at that one, and vice versa.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And did you fully write out full dialogue, or was it improvised dialogue?
We wrote it out full dialogue, but we left room, and everybody in the cast is an improviser.
Right.
So but we wanted to be able to have, you know, planned days, and because we were working on such a small budget, and because, you know, we had Chris Redd in the cast, and he was very busy at the time, and so we only had him for, I think, 1 day or 2 days, so we had to kind of jam things where they would fit. So we wrote it. We both really write in this kind of like flowy, improvisey, mumblecore way.
Okay.
And then we would do, you know, takes of what's on the script, and we told the actors like, this is what we want to hit, but if something like rolls off your tongue easier in the same vein, go for it. And then we would do takes of improv if we could, if we had time.
Do you have, this is more general, but do you have a personal preference? Do you like having fully scripted dialogue, or do you like having improv dialogue as an actor, I guess? Yeah,
I like it when I actually had an audition recently where they sent a bunch of scenes, and then the last scene was like 2 full monologues, but they were like, go ahead and make them your own.
Sure.
So then it's like this medium place where I understand what they want in this moment specifically. I also have the character breakdown, so I understand what they're looking for like an energy, feeling, and look.
Right.
And I can improvise within that. So I'm not, when they're like, go ahead and improvise whatever, it's like, well, am I standing on a farm? Am I like on the side of the road? Am I serving burgers? Like, what are we doing?
Right.
And that's a lot of pressure. And I feel like the directors and writers and casting people can't really get what they want from you. So I really prefer to be a little written, and then the freedom to improvise if I can.
Excellent.
Yeah.
What are the plans with that now? Is there any updates or any current where that stands?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a couple years now. We did really well in the festival circuit. It opened up a lot of opportunities for us as a duo and as individuals, and got us into a lot of rooms. I don't know what's going to happen with the project itself. At this point, we're still kind of hoping. We got so much wonderful feedback, but it was, none of it. It was like really lovely, but
I mean, I think that speaks to something, at least this is my assumption, is that there can be value in that, you know, the doors that are opened, just the learning experience, like all of those things, that may not be appropriately valued by some people, like, or recognized, I guess I should say.
I think that's such a huge thing, and that's such a big thing to bring up too. I think it's really important, and something that I always talk about in the classes that I teach, and something that I really believe and do is like, you know, with Beautiful Mess specifically, and every project I've worked on, it all stems from a passion and a desire to work with the person that I'm working with. And it's nothing but absolute joy.
Sure. And
the reason that Ashley and I made that pilot out of the ones that we had written was like, we wrote these things, they're being like shopped around, you know. This one is like a cast of like 5 people. Let's make the thing, because we're here to make stuff. Like, of course, we all want to be rich and have boats, you know, but ultimately you do it because you love being on set. You love the whole process,
right?
And, you know, and that's extremely valuable. And now we have this thing that I'm so proud of. I'm so excited still to share. And we're both just over the moon to have any opportunities come from it.